I'll call Emilio Del Toro, Your Honor.
All right, he's been sworn. You may proceed.
Mr. Del Toro, what services have you engaged in this case?
Services. I have engaged and completed the substance abuse, parenting, and anger, the drug tests, NA classes, and I'm starting my. I did my psychological evaluation as well, and now I already done about 4 sessions of counseling, and I'm still doing. I got one next week as well.
And have all your drug tests come back negative?
Yes.
And you had a late start in this case because you weren't released until the fall, is that correct?
Yeah, the 7th of October.
Okay. But since the 7th of October, as you stated, you've completed parenting, substance abuse, anger management, and your psychological.
Yes.
Okay. In regards to your criminal history, when was that domestic violence charge you picked up?
It was, I think it was a couple years ago. It was with me and my father, but it wasn't even, he had lied about everything. He lied about me assaulting him because I didn't. He dropped the charges and they put it to a misdemeanor, but the state picked it up and gave me that charge anyway. And that's what violated my probation and I had to go to incarcerated.
Have you had any other violent charges?
No, besides the possession charge that I was already on before when I was on probation. That's what I was on probation for originally.
Oh, so you've never had any, as I said, no other violent charges, just that one charge with your father?
No, that wasn't even a violent charge, but yeah, besides that one.
And again, it wasn't directed at a paramour or a child, correct?
Correct.
What has your visitation been ordered to be with Serenity?
Well, when I first saw her, it was just one time, and I always asked about it, like when was it? But Kat finally.
Mr. Del Toro, I need you to hold your device still, please. It's very hard to focus on you when your device is moving all over the place. Go ahead and answer the question.
I don't have a stand.
I guess let me rephrase. How many times has the department set up visits for you and Serenity?
4 times. Tomorrow I have a visit with her. It'll be the 5th.
Okay, so since being out in October, you've only been allowed to see your daughter 4 times.
Yes, and they made it every other Wednesday for 1 hour supervised visit.
Okay. And since your release, you haven't picked up any new criminal charges?
No,
No, police haven't been called to your residence?
no, man. I've been staying out of trouble. I ain't trying to violate parole.
How often? You're staying in compliance with parole?
Yes, as well as the drug tests for them. If you want to count those, there's a lot more added with the CPS drug tests. More
so
negative.
you check in with a parole officer and a CPS worker. Is that correct?
Yes.
There's been an allegation that you've had unsupervised or you've had access to Serenity without the knowledge of the department. Has that occurred?
No.
Are you requesting that you be allowed unsupervised access to Serenity?
Yes, I would like to. Now that I've completed almost everything, I'm doing my counseling now, and I haven't asked Kat yet, but I will eventually. After this, I'll ask her if I could start having unsupervised visits. Well, I'm not sure how I'll do.
Has the department made you aware of any of Serenity's medical needs?
No, they don't tell me nothing.
Have they let you know when she was having surgeries or any kind of medical appointments?
No, I found out from Jessica after they had told her. She had told me. She would tell me.
So they never obtained any kind of parental consent to any surgeries?
No, they didn't. They never let me know anything.
Have they given you any notes from Serenity's medical providers?
No.
Do you believe that the department and Miss Wells have tried to alienate you from Serenity?
Yes, because I mean, I don't have no contact with Haley. I don't know how to get a hold of her or ask if, like, hey, is she bringing my daughter, or if the caseworkers always pick her up. So, and I have my visits with her. So other than that, I can't get a hold of her to see how she's doing, or if she needs any money. I don't mind, helping them out, but helping her out. But I can't get a hold of them, so I don't know. But
Do you support Ms. Shower's request for a monitored return today, which would place Serenity in her home?
yes, she has her own place. She's doing good. She's doing well. She's passing her drug tests. She's doing her classes. She's working. And
If ju-
she told me yeah,
if Judge were
she
to
has her own
order,
room.
if Judge were to order that, and he ordered that your access were to say supervised, would you be willing to obey by that court order and not violate that schedule?
To provide.
So if
You say that? You say that again?
Serenity were to go home today, but Judge said you could only see her supervised by the department, are you willing to obey that and not go over to Jessica's house?
Yes, I will obey that.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Kyler Green.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Del Toro, how long were you incarcerated throughout this case?
About a year and 2-3 months.
Okay,
Since
so
August
you're
3rd.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Say the last part again, please.
August the 3rd, I got incarcerated, and I got out on October 7th. So that's about a year and 2 months, 3 months.
Okay, so how many times have you actually seen Serenity?
Like I said, 4 times.
Okay, in her life.
Yeah, in her life.
Okay,
And those were just the supervised visits.
okay. Do you understand the department's role in this case?
Do I understand it? Department's role? No, not really. I don't understand.
What do you think it is? What do you think
do
the
you mean by that?
department is involved in this case for?
The action calls for speculation.
I'm asking for his understanding as a parent to this child, that he's asking for more access to and that he's testified that the department has alienated him from his child. I would like to know what his perspective is as to what everybody's doing here.
Overruled.
You can answer the question, sir.
I really don't understand your question. Honestly,
Well, you testified earlier that you felt that the department has alienated you from your child.
But just
my
because
question-
I don't really know what's going on. That's what I'm saying. And they don't tell me, like, the surgeries. I don't know anything about that. I would like to know what's going on with it.
Do you think that well, you would agree that Serenity needed protection throughout the course of this case?
Protection, yes.
From you?
Did. Not from me.
That she needed protection from Ms. Shower?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. Before, because I understand she brought CPS because she came out dirty.
Who
But other
did?
than that, that's the only reason why. But she's not in, like, no endangerment to her, nothing, or
Who
me.
came out dirty?
Jessica. That was back when I was already incarcerated. I didn't even know about it till she told me when we got older.
Okay, so the mother
Baby
of your
came out
child was positive for meth. That's your understanding.
Yes, that was
Action
way
was an
before
answer.
this started. Yes, that's
Overruled.
my understanding.
Okay. And so you would agree with me that it's important for the everybody here in this room to protect Serenity.
Yeah.
Okay. And you would also agree that an individual whether he is her biological father or not, but an individual who has met Serenity 4 times, that it probably would be a wise decision to have a little bit of time to see what your life is going to look like after you've been incarcerated for over a year and that you have never been a father to her before.
Objection, compound question.
Sustain. Let's break that up, Skylar
Okay.
Green.
I apologize. You've only met Serenity 4 times.
Objection asked and answered.
Okay, just laying the groundwork here. You've only met Serenity 4 times, and you have a quite extensive criminal history that led you in to be incarcerated for over a year.
Objection, compound question, and asked and answered, and assuming facts not in evidence.
I'll sustain to the compound question, overruled to the asked and answered. And as far as the assuming facts and evidence, overruled. Let's just break that up, Ms. Kylie Green.
Okay. You have an extensive history that is concerning to the parties involved in this case, isn't that right?
Objection, Your Honor. It calls for speculation. He has no idea what anybody's concerned about. No, shoot he.
We've already gone. Well, I can move on.
Overruled.
We've already
Overruled.
discussed this. Okay. Is that correct? You would agree with me?
I don't understand what you said.
Your criminal history led you to be incarcerated for over a year. You would agree with me on that?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And part of that criminal history involves a domestic violence charge that you served for.
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled.
Yes.
Okay. And you also stated earlier that it's your understanding that it's important for Serenity to be protected from any sort of dangers.
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered.
I think that there was questions asked earlier that were of the same vein, but I have not heard Ms. Kyler Green ask him specifically any of these questions, and it's within the scope. So I'm going to overrule those objections and allow her to explore it. Mr. Del Toro, you need to answer the question.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. You stated earlier that it's important for the parties in this room to ensure that Serenity is protected.
Yes.
Okay, and you'd agree that all the services that the department has requested that you partake in and that the court has ordered are to ensure that you are capable of protecting her.
Yes, I'm capable of protecting her, care for her, guide her.
No, I'm saying that the services are to ensure that you can.
Yes.
Okay, and you haven't really been given, you haven't had the opportunity to do that, to prove that you're capable of protecting her, isn't that right?
Just my visits.
Right, your 4 visits.
Yes.
Okay. And you're aware of Ms. Shower's history with meth use as well, isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay. And you think that, would you agree that a history with methamphetamine use is concerning for the protection of Serenity?
Yes, but she ain't gonna be using no more. She's doing good, and y'all need to know that she's a better person than what she was before. And I've known her for years, and she's come a long way.
What were your
I'll
triggers?
make sure she's on top of that.
Okay. What were your triggers?
My triggers?
Mhm.
What do you mean triggers?
What are your triggers for your criminal history or your criminal history?
My criminal history?
Objection, argumentative judge. I don't even know.
I
what
don't
she's
know.
asking.
I honestly don't know what you're trying to say.
Why don't you rephrase that, Ms. Kyler Green?
What do you think led to you having a charge for possession?
That was just a bad choice I made.
Okay, and what about the domestic violence charge?
That was, like I said, that was a misunderstanding with my dad. He called the cops on me and lied to them, and he
So
dropped the
that was not
charges
your
because he
fault.
knew that was not my fault. It was his. And like I said, state picked it up, and I couldn't do nothing about that. And I was on probation and got involved, and that's what led to my incarceration.
So would the anger management class that you took, what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on it? I mean, I understood like what anger is, rage, and how it starts. It starts with I was learned how you say it? Frustration and irritation, frustration, and how to stop and prevent it before you get to the point. The anger management class, they helped out.
Okay, do you think that all of the classes that you're taking right now are helping?
Yes, ma'am. Of course.
Okay, do you think it's important for you to continue with those classes to ensure that the issues that led you down the wrong path don't come up again?
Well, that's what I'm doing now. I keep doing these NA classes, and I'm doing counseling, and I will continue to keep doing that, even though I've reached the point. And I also starting to go to church on Sunday. I'm gonna start doing that.
Okay, and do you also think it's important for there to be more of an opportunity to prove that you're not a danger to Serenity before she's just laid out in front of you?
Can you repeat that?
Do you think that it's important for you to be given the opportunity to prove that you will not be a danger to Serenity before she's...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Of course.
Nothing further, sir.
Ms. Pearsall,
Your Honor, can you enable screen sharing?
it's enabled.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Del Toro, did you get a service plan in this case
Service plan?
that listed all of your classes?
Not that I know of. No, I don't think I did.
Okay. Have we
All I
previously,
know, the previous one is from when we had court when I was incarcerated. I was over the phone, and they told me the service plans, which is other classes I've taken already and finished, and from last
and
week they
that's a
said,
service plan I'm asking about. So you were aware of that service plan, correct?
yes,
Okay. And part of what all of us have previously discussed was domestic violence, correct?
yes, domestic violence.
Okay. And isn't it true that what your service plan says is that there was no need identified for you to take any sort of domestic violence class?
No, it wasn't on my service plan.
And Your Honor, I would just ask that you take judicial notice of these parties' service plan, and specifically page 11 of that plan that makes that finding.
Or we'll take judicial notice of the family plans of service on file.
Thank you.
Judge, can I just get the date of that service plan?
I don't know if that's.
Is that Mr. Saldivar?
I don't know
Yes,
that-
Your Honor, that's good. Thank you.
Did you do drug treatment during this case?
My treatment,
Did you do drug treatment during this case?
my drug test,
Did you do drug treatment? No drug test, drug treatment.
like classes.
Yes.
Yes, I do on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays every week at 8:00.
Okay, and I think that's your NA classes, correct?
Yes, NA class.
Okay, I'll come back to those. Did you, while you were incarcerated, did you do a program to help you with your drug addiction?
Yes, I put in I-60 for substance abuse. I did that for 6 months.
And did you successfully finish your 6 months drug treatment?
Yes,
program?
I successfully finished. I got my certificates for it.
Okay. And have you provided those certificates to the department?
Yes,
And then you already testified you were released October 7th of 2022, correct?
yes.
Okay. And how soon upon your release did you start attending NA?
The week after that, I started doing them. It might have been that same week I got out. It might have been the week after that because it was on the 7th. So I have it right here on my.
Have
was
you
10,
provided,
Yes,
I'm sorry, it was when?
it was on the 10th of October. I started doing them.
Okay, so immediately 3 days, well, 3 days after your release, correct?
Yes, I started doing after I got out. I started doing because the judge told me um, the time period was still going to be January, so I know time wasn't on my side, and I stayed busy. I had to do all this, the counseling, parenting, and I think I'm
And then you
on
said,
track of where I need to be.
Mr. Del Toro, when you say the judge, you mean this judge, Judge Falkendorf, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have you provided both myself and the department your sign-in sheet for UNA classes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I gave.
You're-
I'll send you. Okay.
And at this point, I'm sharing Mr. Del Toro's sign-in sheet. Is this your sign-in sheet, Mr. Del Toro, for NA classes?
Yes, there should be 3 of them
Okay.
from the started to finish.
Okay. Is this the right form?
Yes.
Okay. And this shows you started meetings on October 10th of 2022,
Yes, ma'am.
and it shows all of your consistent 3 times a week NA attendance for all of these months, correct?
Yes, until this month as well.
Okay. Your Honor, at this point, I'm asking that that be admitted as respondents 1.
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Respondents 1 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Del Toro, even though you weren't required to do any sort of domestic violence or anger management course, did you go ahead and complete anger management class on your own?
Yes, I didn't.
And did you provide that
I
certificate?
didn't know
to
it
the
was required, but I
department?
did. Yes,
Did you provide the certificate of completion to both
believe-
myself and the department?
yes, yes,
Is
ma'am.
that a
I
yes?
did. Yes, ma'am.
And is this your certificate of completion for anger management?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, I'm asking that that be admitted into evidence. And have you provided that certificate to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
And for the record, I'm sharing correspondence 3, which is Mr. Del Toro's completion of certificate for parenting, and asking that that be admitted into evidence.
No objection.
No
No
objection.
objection.
No objection.
All right, respondent fathers 2 and 3 are admitted.
Thank you, Honor. You've also completed your psychological evaluation.
Yes,
Okay, and there were no new recommendations made for any other services other than what's already in your service plan. Is that correct?
yes, ma'am.
And you have started counseling as soon as the department set it up for you?
Yes, I started right away. I did it that same day they set it up.
And you've continued to attend it?
Yes, I continued. I have one. I just had one yesterday, and next week I have one as well.
Now, if the department would like you to do couples counseling with Ms. Shower, are you willing to do that?
Yes,
Where are you living?
I'm living at my mother's.
And is that where you've lived since the day of your release?
Yes, my address was pro there, and I tried to change it to over here in Dilly, but like Jessica said, Kat had talked to my pro officer, and she said I didn't have to be staying there, so she changed her mind because she was gonna investigate for me to change my address here. But she said since I didn't have to, she declined it, and she said we'll just wait further down the road, and then we might change it. But till now, I can't be living there. My address can't be changed there. It's got to stay at
Okay.
my mother's.
And so at this point, you plan to continue to stay at your mother's for as long as parole requires it, correct?
Yes,
Are you employed?
yes.
Where do you work?
I work at with my uncle. It's Del Toro Construction Remodeling.
And is that a job you actually obtained before even being released?
I've been working there all my life.
And so you've been gainfully employed the entire time you've been out of incarceration, correct?
Yes,
Since October.
yes, and yeah.
And you heard Jessica testify that you've been helping her financially. Are you willing to continue to do that and provide for Serenity?
Oh yes, of course.
Now, are you asking that the court today order that you have specific increased visits with your daughter?
Yes,
Are you asking for at least 2 hours of weekly supervised visits?
Judge, I object to this questioning. There's no motion for increased visitation at this time.
I would like to ask. I'm sorry.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. We're not set for that today.
Do you have any objections to the department or anybody else supervising your visits?
What do you mean by that?
Okay. Does it matter to you who supervises your visits? Or do you just want to make sure you're getting your visits?
I just want to make sure I'm getting them. I don't mind being supervised. I've been supervised since I started, so it's okay.
And you testified to the 4 visits you've had since being released, but you don't have any control over those visits, right? The department has to set them up in
Yeah.
order for you to see.
Yes, and so far they've been every time they said it was always those days.
And while you were incarcerated, did you also see Serenity?
I never saw her, but when I would call Jessica over the phone, sometimes she would visit her and she'll be right there, and I could just hear her voice, her little cries and all that. But other than that, no.
Have you ever seen Serenity while you were in court during your incarceration?
Yes, I wouldn't. I had saw her one time. I was in court.
Okay.
That was just a brief moment, though.
But technically, that means you have seen her more than 4 times in your life,
Yes,
correct?
I have seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Another question, Sienna.
You testified that you did a substance abuse program while incarcerated. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of substance abuse issue were you addressing in that program?
Meth.
Okay. And prior to your incarceration, how long did you have a problem with meth?
Like I had a problem with it. Well, I really never had a problem. I just chose to do it. It was just bad choice, and now I just have no need for it no more. I don't chose not to mess with any of that stuff.
Okay, so
Get my life together.
prior to incarceration, how many years did you have issues where you chose to do meth?
Like 5 years.
Okay. Did you ever have consistent periods of sobriety during those 5 years?
Sometimes I'll be off of it a month here and there. I can't give you the dates when, but I know I wasn't always on it.
Okay. Did you use with Ms. Shower?
No,
Were you aware that she used meth during the time frame that you were using meth?
yes, she told me.
Did you know her during that time period?
I don't know. I known her for years. I know that she's done it, but no, I never done it with her. And when I got locked up, um, I told her to stay clean, like just be clean, and because we both wanted to get away from it. So, but then somehow they became all dirty still, and now that that's how I found out.
Okay. Are you aware that Serenity has been placed with Ms. Wells for the duration of this case?
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay. And that Ms. Wells has been providing a stable home and support for Serenity for the past roughly a year and a half?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Do you think that it's reasonable to understand why the department and would want Serenity to be protected given the previous drug use of yourself and Ms. Shower?
Objection asked and answered by prior counsel.
I'll allow it. Overruled.
Repeat it.
Do you understand why the department would want Serenity to be protected given yours and Ms. Shower's prior drug use?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Have you and Ms. Shower attended any substance abuse treatment together as a couple?
No, I was incarcerated when I did my substance abuse.
Do you attend any meetings together?
No, not that I know of. I do mine online as well, and I got it from her, so she does the same. She does the same ones.
Have you addressed at all the issues surrounding people who have substance abuse problems being in relationships together?
I don't understand what you mean.
Okay. Have you had any type of counseling that would address yours and Ms. Shower's drug history and being in a relationship together?
Well, we haven't done couples counseling yet, so.
Okay.
If that's what you're talking about, like together as the counselors together.
Hang on just a second. Ms. Shower and Mr. Del Toro have asked repeatedly, please keep your devices still. It's very distracting to me when your face is moving all over the screen.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Need you to keep your devices still. Please set them down or hold them still. Go ahead, Ms. Acosta.
Thank you. And Mr. Del Toro, were you aware that this case has been extended once?
Yes,
And so yourself and Ms. Shower have had a year and a half to complete services, correct? Roughly.
I don't know if it's been a year and a half. I know it's a year, a month or two, maybe.
You testified earlier that you tried to change your residence to Dilley. Was that to Ms. Shower's residence?
Yes, that was yes.
Okay, and why did you try to change your residence to Ms. Shower's residence?
so we could be so we could be together and have our family together. But
So your,
I can't.
is it your
Well, I can't do
intention?
that. But yes, it's my intentions to all be together and take care of our baby.
So your intention is to move in with Ms. Shower as soon as you're able to.
Yes.
During the phone calls, when you would hear Serenity, did Jessica allow you to speak to Serenity on the phone during those visits?
No.
But she would call you during the visits that she was having with Serenity?
No, I would call her and she would appear because I can't, she can't call me in there when I was incarcerated. I have to call. I would call every time, every once in a while I'd call, and sometimes I could hear her. She won't let me talk to her or nothing, but I could hear her.
Okay, so I just wanted some clarification. Sometimes you would call and she would be having a visit with Serenity.
Yes.
How long would you say you would stay on the phone with her during those phone calls when she was with Serenity?
Not long at all. A good 30 seconds. 'Cause I know she has to be with Serenity, so I just call and checking up on her, see how she's doing, how Jessica's doing, and my baby. But it was rarely when I see her, when I call her, she's with her.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Saldivar,
Yes. Mr. Del Toro, you said that you used meth just as a bad decision, not that you were addicted. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just chose to do it.
Okay, so you said you had 5 years of meth use. You don't believe that you had a serious problem with meth use during those 5 years?
I don't have a problem with it because I did have a problem because I was using regardless. I understand that, and just kept getting in trouble when I was using it.
Okay, but
And
do you agree with
that's
me
why.
that's a serious drug use problem?
Yes, it is. It is. It is. I agree with you.
Okay. And you testified earlier that you knew Jessica for many years and she had the same serious problem. Is that correct?
Objection asked and answered.
sustained.
Okay. When did you find out that Jessica was pregnant with Serenity?
I found out, say, about a month before I got incarcerated.
And when was the month that you got incarcerated?
I got incarcerated in August
August of 2021 or 2019?
21.
21. And it was, to your knowledge, was Jessica actively using methamphetamines in August of 2021?
I didn't know she was when I was incarcerated. I thought she was staying clean, but I guess she had a relapse or something. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I wouldn't know.
And you testified earlier that the reason why the CPS case started was that Jessica tested dirty, but there was really no endangerment to the child. Was that your testimony?
Yes.
Okay, so are you aware that Serenity suffered from withdrawals due to the methamphetamine use that Jessica exposed her to?
Objection, assuming facts not in evidence and calling for speculation.
Sustained.
Are you aware of any injuries that the child sustained because of Jessica's methamphetamine use?
Objection calls for speculation, not personal knowledge.
Judge, I'm asking if you had personal knowledge.
Overruled.
No, I had no knowledge because I was, like I said, they never told me anything about her surgeries. I didn't find out till later.
Okay. So when did you first make contact with CPS while you're in jail?
Honestly, don't remember. It was right when I was in. The first time I got contacted was with one of the CPS caseworkers. It was about who's gonna be watching our child while I'm incarcerated.
No, I understand that, but you were incarcerated in August of 2021, or September of 2021. When did you first make contact with the department or caseworker?
I can't remember
Your
the
Honor,
date.
I'm going to object, assuming that's not an evidence, not to mention it's a possible question. I mean, obviously, if he was incarcerated, he wasn't the one making the contact. It was the department who eventually bothered to get around to talking to Dad.
Let's rephrase, Mr. Saldivar.
Judge, if I can respond, I mean, he's saying that he made contact with the department. He should know when he made contact with that person. I don't know how other else that he can have personal knowledge of a conversation that he had.
He can answer that part of the question.
I never had contact with them. They contacted me, and it would only be for the hearings. I would only be on the hearings. I can't remember those days exactly, what days they followed on, but they contacted me. I couldn't contact them.
Okay. So how many times would you say the department or a caseworker contacted you while you're in jail?
Not many. I say about 3 times only.
3 times. Did you ever ask during those 3 times for any medical history or how Serenity was doing?
Well, I couldn't ask because we were on the hearings. I can't talk on the hearings. They won't let me just talk on the hearings. Last time I tried, they told me to not say nothing until I'm asked.
So your testimony is the only time the department contacted you in jail was the day of the hearing.
The hearings only, yes.
Okay, and so when did you receive your service plan?
I can't remember.
Do you remember how you received your service plan?
It was in the mail.
Okay, do you around what time period did you receive your service plan?
I know I received them when I honestly can't remember when I received it.
Okay, so if you're so concerned about Serenity, how come you don't know any of these dates regarding this case?
Objection argumentative.
Overruled.
Can you repeat that?
So if you're very, very concerned about Serenity and her health, why do you not know any of the dates that you were contacted or you received your service plan?
Because I was incarcerated. I can't get a hold of anybody. I can't
But-
I can't just call CPS or the caseworker because those numbers they gotta be programmed on the phones for me to get a hold of them. And I can't
But-
do that because they have to have authorization.
But today, you cannot recall any times they've called you or that they mailed you any of the CPS documents. Is that
I
correct?
just got mails of the service plans. That's all I have mail for. Service plans only.
But you don't know the dates you received them, correct?
No, it was this random
Objection
day.
asked and answered.
Sustained. We need to move on.
And when did you engage in a romantic relationship with Miss Shower during this case? When did that start?
I started I told her I was gonna when she told me she was pregnant. And when I got incarcerated, I told her I'd be there. I'd guide her, help her out, stay clean.
So as of September of 2021, you were in a romantic relationship with Jessica Showers. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you ever disclose that romantic relationship to the department?
Yes, they knew we were together.
When did you disclose that to the department?
I told it was at the beginning when I was in there, maybe September. Sometime in September, I talked to the caseworker Janelle and told her that we were.
Okay, is that September of 2021 or 2022?
Yes, 2021. I was incarcerated.
Okay, and you testified earlier that you don't have any violent charges or that you thought that the domestic violence charge you had with your father wasn't violent. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you said that you got the charge lowered to an assault bodily injury misdemeanor. Is that correct?
It was a misdemeanor, but
Did
it
you-
wasn't. Can I ask you? It never happened. I never assaulted him. He
Okay.
knew, and he dropped the charges. But state picked it up. State charged me with it.
Did you agree? Did you enter into a plea agreement with the state to take the conviction for that case?
Yes, that's why I was dropped to a misdemeanor.
So you went in front of a court and said that you were guilty of assault bodily injury on your father. Is that correct?
Well, I didn't say that.
But you accepted a plea agreement that convicted you for that charge. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Pass the witness, Judge.
All right, any other questions or follow-up for Mr. Del Toro?
No, Your Honor.
Actually, Judge, I'm sorry, I do have a few more questions. If I may.
You may.
Okay. And now you understand that Serenity's lived with Miss Wells for almost 1.5 years now. Do you understand that?
Yep.
Do you think in that 1.5 years that she's formed a bond to Miss Wells, Miss Haley Wells?
Objection calls for speculation and it's irrelevant, Your Honor.
Response?
Judge, he's in agreement with moving his child to Miss Showers' home. I believe it's relevant that what his opinion is on the subject of bonding to the current placement where the child's been there for 1.5 years.
He's previously testified he's had no contact with them and he's never been provided any information as to how to contact them.
Mr. Saldivar is asking him about the situation, what he thinks about the situation. Am I correct, Mr. Saldivar?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you asking him to speculate, or are you asking him how he feels about that situation in general?
In general, Judge.
All right, then I'll overrule the objection.
I got to repeat it again, man. Sorry.
Do you believe that your child living with Miss Wells for 1.5 years that she has formed a bond to Miss Wells?
Yes, they have a bond, I'm sure.
And do you understand that she's lived there almost her entire life with Miss Wells?
Yes.
Do you think that it's in the child's best interest to disrupt that home that she's lived in her entire life?
Can you say that again?
Do you think that it's in the child's best interest to disrupt that home that she's lived in her entire life and move her with Miss Showers?
Yes, I would want her to be moved to Miss Showers.
And why do you believe that that's in her best interest to move her from a home that she's lived in her whole life?
Because she's doing better. She's not the same person she used to be. And every child should be with their parents.
Pass the witness, Judge.
Ms. Savage, next witness.
Your Honor, I have a follow-up.
Okay.
Mr. Del Toro, do you believe there would be any immediate danger to Serenity in Miss Showers' home if the court were to place her there today?
No, there'll be no danger.
And do you think it would be equally, if not more important, for Serenity to develop a bond with her siblings in Miss Showers' home?
Yes, she deserves to be a bond with her sisters, her brother, her
And
aunts.
would you think a bond with her mother would be
Oh, yes.
more important than a bond with an aunt?
Yes, more. Yes, I agree.
And do you believe this, the motion to place her in Miss Showers' home to be in Serenity's best interest?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor. And no other witnesses. I rest.
Mr. Saldivar, witnesses.
Yes, Judge, I'd like to call Ms. Lewis, please.